That's good. That's a good sign. Okay, so Andrew, we're finally connected, mate. Thanks again for coming on. Really appreciate it. And I'm sure there's lots of people here who are very eager to meet you and see and learn all about this new Kickstarter you've got running, mate. So everything okay, mate? And over there in the Highlands of Scotland?
I'm not in the Highlands. I'm in the middle in Edinburgh. It's actually St Andrew's Day here today, so just winding up. But I don't know. Unlike Ireland with St Patrick's Day, we don't really have a big sort of day of celebration. But there you go.
Right. Okay. Well, I hope you had a good day of celebration anyway. Whatever you did, mate. What do people normally do? Do they go to the streets and they have marches and that kind of thing?
Weirdly, there isn't like a big celebratory tradition. It's free to go to Edinburgh Castle for the day, which is, I don't know, that's about the only change to normal routine. It is a public holiday, but there isn't like a tradition of street parties or public celebration in the way that there is like with St Patrick's Day or something, you know.
Right. It's a public holiday on a Sunday?
We'll get the Monday as a public
holiday. That's good. Good, mate. Okay. So, well, that's there's no excuse then for people not to join the chat because they've got a day off tomorrow, haven't they? Especially in Scotland. So it should be full of Scots in the chat today. So thanks very much for Dale Yates. You know Dale? Have you heard from him? Outlaw Painting Studios YouTube channel. I don't
know him personally. No.
Okay, well, go and check out his channel, mate. I think you would like his stuff. It has a lot of old hammer stuff and miniatures and stuff in there. Yeah, and who we got here? Liam McCullen. So thanks, Liam, for coming in, mate, and saying hello. Appreciate that. And so, what else has been happening, Andrew, in your life, mate? It's been a while since we had a chat last, isn't it?
Yeah. I suppose I've just been working away with this, trying to convince some people to buy some models, really.
Yeah. Now you have smashed the retainer or whatever it is on Kickstarter.
I set a pretty low project goal, and it's done significantly better than that. So yeah, quite pleased.
Oh, that's good. Because I knew that the models, you already produced the models. You know, everything was done. It's it's not like it's something that you have to create. It's something you've already produced. So that's one good thing about the actual Kickstarter. People can see that you've actually made the models, you painted them and everything. So it's all ready to roll.
Yeah.
Now, of course, if you're looking at this screen here from Andrew's Kickstarter page here, it's in Japanese yen, but it looks very nice in Japanese yen because it looks like it's a lot more than what it actually is. So but you currently got 55 backers and it's 4 days to go, so you haven't got long now, guys, before this Kickstarter wraps up. So you better get in there now and quick to grab some of these wonderful miniatures that you've sculpted by hand, haven't you, Andrew? These are not 3D sculpts or anything, mate.
No, they're traditional putty over wire armatures, all kind of handmade.
Excellent. Okay, so can you talk us through the actual Kickstarter itself, please?
I mean, what I've done is essentially made 10 alternative Fimmer sculpts in a sort of old hammer style, and they're available as resin casts. I also made quite a few face shields, primarily for my own personal use, and I just decided to get those cast and see if there was demand for them as well. And yeah, there've been quite a few people interested in them. So there's, in addition to the 10 figures, there's 35, I think, different kind of shield designs. A lot of them are kind of real old hammer kind of face shields, some with 2 eyes, some with single eyes, some with 3 eyes, some with protruding teeth or tusks or noses. And there's a few kind of Celtic knotwork kind of designs, and quite a lot of moon faces, which is like, I suppose, like a sort of classic old hammer motif.
Yep, cool. I like this particular one, the classic Hero Quest pose with the fist pump and axe raise. That's cool.
Yep. Maybe flying a bit close to the wind there, but
yeah. No, I think you got away with it, okay, mate. So
I haven't had a cease and desist yet.
Yeah. Okay, so here are the shields that you're talking about. So yeah, lots of cool moon faces and yeah, Celtic knots and that kind of thing on there, which is nice. And yeah, I think I remarked last time that I do like how the what do you call those? The structure where the actual models cast on.
I mean that's it's sprue essentially. It's
Sprue,
different to like what you'd get on a modern Games Workshop plastic kit. That's not an enclosing frame, but it is essentially like the reservoir that the resin is poured from to fill the mold. So I can't really take any credit for that. That's Curtis at Ramshackle is responsible for that, and he's really big on turning what could be just like a useless block of resin into something kind of functional. So for the majority of these molds, he's sculpted they're kind of like essentially they're like rocky bases or outcrops with a lot of skulls and severed heads on them. And as you can see, there are 2 or 3 of those blocks with each cast, and rather than that being like wasted material, like it is, for instance, on Games Workshop Forge World kits, where I don't know if you've ever built any of them, you're left with loads of those blocks of resin, essentially the same process. But here they're detailed and can be used to make stuff. So I've used them to make some of the terrain pieces that are in some of the kind of context shots on the Kickstarter, I suppose. So like I made a sort of palisade fence and used those rocky bases as the bottoms and put all the severed heads on the top. The shields have got kind of piles of skulls rather than rocky bases. But the same idea. And it's about making something that's essential to the casting process and is often turns out to be a waste product into something that's usable, which I think is a really kind of creative thing to do. And that's like a real hallmark of what Curtis at Ramshackle Games does, because he specialises in resin casting. So instead of wasting loads of resin, he makes it useful. I think that should be applauded.
Yep, good on him. That's fantastic. Okay, well that's good, mate. I'm glad that your models are in safe hands with Curtis there, Ramshackles. I noticed that. And I thought that's a really good idea. I wish more people would do something like that to make those elements of that resin sprue usable for terrain or for your scenic bases or what have you. I think it's a great idea.
Yep.
Okay, so just going through now, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but you've got like all these pledge listings here. So you've got the pledge amount and what you get for that particular pledge. So everything ranging from just one set of 4 shields all the way through, getting all of the shields at a certain cost. And then you've got various different of the particular miniatures that you can pledge for single miniatures to the whole lot, the whole shebang. So, and it delivers anywhere in the world. And it's been shipped out of the UK, I take it, from Curtis's.
It's all made and cast in the UK, and it'll be sent from here.
Okay, great, mate. What's generally the turnaround from after the Kickstarter ends? What's
the fulfillment date we've put on it is March, so March next year. Like you say, the models are made, the molds are made, so that it's just a question of getting the final amount that need to be cast and getting on with that casting. So I think that's like a generous and realistic amount of time. And I don't foresee any problems with that fulfillment date. Fingers crossed.
Okay. Yep, I just noticed it, March 2026. I very, very rarely go to Kickstarter these days.
Yeah, no, sure.
So I'm sort of out of touch with all this stuff now at the moment. But well, it's good to see that people are still using it, because I think the last time I had a quick look at it, I just noticed there's so much 3D sculpting stuff on there now.
Yeah,
everything's 3D sculpting. You know, like it's just, and maybe that's why I haven't been there for a long time.
That's true. You know, with a lot of model making, miniature production in general. You know, and I can see why, but I can also say that I think there are some really nice digital sculpts that are being created as well. I think, like any medium, there are some ones that are less good, but I think there are some really good digital sculpts out there. Red Bard Games, Knucklebones Miniatures. You know, there's some people who are doing things in a digital medium, on Toss Games, where they're making old style figures, which is what interests me with modern technology. I don't think necessarily because something's digitally designed, done, even 3D printed, or digitally designed and then, physically printed and then produced in resin or metal or whatever medium, ultimately needs to be done in a way that makes it look like a modern Games Workshop kit.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough, mate. That's I agree with you. I love OnTos Games stuff. I think he does an absolute wonderful job in recreating all those old classic, but in his own style. I mean,
no, absolutely.
I
think that's a big thing where I really like to see people making things that could fit in with earlier iterations of models. For me, 3rd edition Warhammer Fantasy particularly, but that are not just slavishly recreating existing artwork or kind of cloning old models. Where I think there's still room for maneuver there for people to make something original in that style. And that's
absolutely,
really,
mate.
that's one of the things that attracted me to the Famhairean as a race, because they only appeared briefly in the sort of Games Workshop canon, and I don't think they were explored in the same way or fleshed out to the same extent that other races that they continued to present were. So there's kind of a lot more room for exploration and expression around them.
Yep, that's good, mate. I'm glad to see so many companies now producing a lot of stuff in homage to those eras. So and they're all equally doing such a great job in producing that. So we've got a couple of questions here, mate. We've got Ben's Miniatures. So is Andrew from the northeast?
No, I'm actually I now live in Edinburgh, which is in the east of Scotland, but I was brought up in the southwest, so quite the opposite in Galloway. Parts of my family are from the northeast, but yeah, I'm Scottish.
Right, okay, mate. And Dale asked, what is the availability like after everything has been fulfilled after Kickstarter?
That's a very good question. This is the first time that I've kind of presented any models commercially, and I really wasn't sure how this would go. Currently, they're available for the Kickstarter, and I haven't decided what I'm going to do with them afterwards, is the honest truth. I would hope to have them available somewhere in some material in the future, but I haven't worked those details out.
Okay, all right. We'll have to keep you posted, Dale, and see what happens there, mate.
I'd like to make some more sculpts and to have them available, in a shop storefront digitally somewhere.
Yep, I'm sure that will be. I'm sure that's quite possible now. I think you can buy your own IP address or whatever. And have your own little store digitally up there and that kind of thing for not that much money these days. and you can go from there, mate. So, yep, the sky's the limit, as they say. So, or you can have another person. You can have like Ramshackle Games on your behalf selling your stuff, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah, no, that's definitely
that's
an
quite a
option.
possibility. Yeah, yeah. I see a lot of that people doing that now. I think that's a good idea. Okay, what we're going to do is going to add this to the stage now. This is the slideshow. So Andrew kindly sent me some images of concept artwork. So in the preliminary stages of designing the Famhairean, is that how you pronounce it? Famhairean?
Yeah, that's good for me, Josh.
Almost sounds like German, as I say it.
Well, basically,
German for me.
basically,
Famhairean.
Basically, the
Yeah.
Fimmer are the Games Workshop lifted directly from the Irish mythical race, the Fomorians, and the direct translation of Fomor in Irish Gaelic to Scots Gaelic is Famhairean, and it essentially just means giants. But it's a Scots Gaelic translation of the original source that Games Workshop used for the race that they called Fimmer.
Famhairean. Okay, Famhairean sounds much better than what I was trying to say there. Okay, so these, I really like. I remember seeing these in our Discord. You posted these up ages ago now, it seems, but I really like these concept artworks you did for these. What kind of medium are you using here, mate? Is it like a colored pencil on a parchment paper or something like that?
It's just normal cartridge paper, and but like that's like a kind of pastel pencil kind of color pencil thing. Yeah. And essentially these drawings I sort of made partway through the process once I'd sort of started the basic poses of the models and wanted to kind of nail some of the details, and I found it was helpful to me to have some sort of reference drawing at that point. So they're pretty close, I think, most of them, to certainly pose and structure and stuff. Some of the details changed, but to the finished models.
And here are the greens. So after the concept artwork, as you can see, they're all hand designed. So in the traditional methods, is it? Yeah, I suppose it's like green stuff mixed with something else, like these days.
I prefer to use. So there's a metal armature. I tend to make like a basic bulking out of the kind of pose of the figure with an epoxy putty called Magic Sculpt, which is a bit cheaper. And I like it. It's a kind of grey sculpt. You can see it on the weapons blades remaining on those photos. It sets really hard, but it's not brittle. And then I tend to skin over that with a layer of the green putty, which for that I use green stuff, but mix it 50-50 with milliput. And I like the mix of milliput and green stuff because it gives you a blend of the two putties that has, for me, the better qualities of both. So it has some of the elasticity of green stuff, but it sets cures to like a harder finish, so you can carve it or sand it, but it doesn't have the brittleness that milliput has on its own.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. And
it's quite
actually,
common.
it's right.
I know that, for instance, Drew Williams from Satter Studios does all of his sculpting with a mix of green stuff and a sort of milliput equivalent. It's actually probably more like Magic Sculpt, but it's called Aves Epoxy Sculpt. It's more difficult to get in the UK, but it's and a blend for that kind of similar reason, where you keep some of the properties of green stuff, but you kind of reduce its elasticity and you get a harder cure on your finished putty.
Yeah, I think the other medium is Procreate, isn't it? They use Procreate.
But Procreate, I think, is no longer in production. The guy was one single guy who used to make that, and for whatever reason, a few years ago he stopped, and everyone's kind of, a lot of people, it was their favoured kind of putty, and they're diminishing supplies because it's not in production anymore.
Right. Okay. Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Okay, so here are all the models now. All have been produced, and then you've cut off the hands and made their little
so
insert
different
holes and
poses,
stuff like that.
different poses require
Plugs.
different cuts. So for casting process essentially to eliminate kind of undercuts essentially. I also made 2 tails for the ones that have separate tails. Over the Fimmer's lifetime in Warhammer, there was a little big debate about whether they should fit on 25 or 40 mil bases. So essentially, I made ones that fit on both. The larger, kind of more extended tails kind of mean they sit more comfortably on 40 mil bases, but with the very sort of tightly curled tails, they sit very close to the body, so they just about fit on 25 mil bases. My initial plan was to make them so they all fit on 25 mils, but they do with the smaller, the closer tails, but they're quite tightly fitting. I think they're better on 40s, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too, mate. No, they look wonderful. Okay. And here are the shields. Now they've got some great little designs on there. I love all the orc faces myself. I think they look fantastic.
Thank you. I think that's like a really quintessentially kind of old hammer thing, is a face shield. And primarily I made the majority of those shields for a unit of old Marauder orcs with the kind of lamellar scale armor and the kind of furred helmets that look a bit sort of Eastern or Turkish. So my original set of those will go on a unit of Marauder orcs.
Cool. That's good, mate. Wonderful. And here we are that we just saw before. So you got the sprues with all the added skulls and decorations to make it more practical. And here are the cast shields. So you get a good idea and representation of what they actually look like from Ramshackle when Curtis has actually poured the molds and everything for them. And you get to see the quality. And here are some of Andrew's wonderfully painted samples of the miniatures. Do you want to go through? You want to talk a little bit about your painting process, Andrew?
I suppose I'm a little less concerned with smoothness than some people. Maybe a little more expressive, but yeah, I like. I suppose my models aren't kind of as bright and bold with some of the color choices as perhaps like a typical kind of middle hammer approach, but I think there's some quite bright colors in there. There's some red armor, there's a lot of greens and browns and skins. These are meant to be bog dwelling monsters, so for me they should be a bit less vibrant than some later schemes.
No, that's fair enough, mate. I think you've done a wonderful job on those. You've got a very, very distinctive style. I think most people would say that, having seen your stuff on, again, Discord, or seen your stuff in person at the Bring Out Your Lead events. So that's good to see. And you've created this wonderful scenic diorama base where all the models are in there now. I think it's behind you, isn't it, mate? Is that the one I can see behind you? In your studio?
Bits and pieces. It's a bit.
I see the Wicker Man there.
Yeah, the Wicker Man's there. The models are there. It's out of shot and the models aren't on it, so I won't go and grab it. But
okay,
it's essentially just like a kind of 3-tiered box made out of just construction cord with some cork bark for the rock faces, and I basically just treated it like a big base. And there are recesses for the 10 figures, but I wanted something that could show the models together in a sort of square format, quite good for Instagram, rather than them being sort of ranked up as a unit. only,
Yeah.
to show all the models together at the same time, really. And that was kind of my motivation for that.
Yep, good, mate. That's great. Well, so I hope those images have given and shown your work in a good light. So I know that the quality of the actual resolution here is not the best. So I would your stuff's all posted up on our Discord, isn't it, too, Andrew?
Yep.
Right.
I'll post them
Okay.
there with most of my stuff. I'm maybe less prolific than some, but yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, it's even more reason to go and check out a Discord. You can see the images in really nice high resolution. And I think it would probably be in the Old Hammer channel, mate. Is that right?
Yeah. But Old Hammer or the Eavylead, the heavy metal on the Discord, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah. Okay, mate. That's good. All right. Well, we've got a few people in the chat here. We want to go through and see what they've been saying since we went there. So, we've got a question here from Kenneth. If the demand was there, would it be viable to cast it in metal?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to have some miniatures cast in metal in the future. If I could do a run with these ones, that would be great. But currently, it's this resin run that's available. But there's, I look at the way some other producers structure their Kickstarters, the Meridian miniatures with Gardens of Hecate, for instance, and quite often they'll offer previous miniature ranges again in addition as add-ons to their next project. So that's something that I'll definitely consider. So in the future, if I've got more models to release, then I might again make these ones available and maybe in a different material in the future.
Okay, good, mate. That sounds wonderful. That's promising for those people who love our old metal miniatures. So that'd be good to see. Now, my good friend Matt is here. Backed this immediately when I saw it. So there you go, mate. You've got a backer.
Oh, great.
Now, have you heard of Mega Hammer?
I know the channel on the Discord, and I've seen he's featured on some of your lives previously, hasn't he?
Yeah, Matt's been. Yeah, he's a great guy. So he's the man behind Resurrecting 3rd edition, and it's a combination of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 1st edition, 3rd edition Warhammer, and then Warhammer Siege. All together in this big, and Mighty Empire, as well as a big campaign.
So all
it's
really
interesting.
Yeah. No one comes to the same thing. Yeah, no, I've seen some of his stuff on your Discord, and also I've seen him on previous Splatter Natters, definitely. And yeah, no, really interesting stuff.
Yeah, he's actually producing his own game as well, which he's shown me some of the box art and the components for, which looks really nice as well. So I'll have to get Matt back on here again to talk about that, to show people what that's like, and maybe he will go with to Kickstarter for that as well, perhaps in the future. So I think you would appreciate that's more like a sort of Old Hammer in style.
Yeah, sure.
So Poor Old Child. These are fabulous, but I want them in metal or HIPS plastic.
Definitely, they definitely will never be available in plastic. But hopefully, I will have some metal miniatures available in the future. Maybe these. But I think plastic is it's kind of the opposite to producing stuff in metal or resin, in that the price per figure is very, very small, but the price for the molds, the CNC stainless steel molds that are required to make injection molded plastic cost thousands and thousands of pounds. You have to be guaranteed to be selling big numbers of models to justify the expense of creating a mold for plastic injection production.
Yep. No, that's fair enough, mate. So we've got John Phillips.
Sorry.
Okay. So I love Andrew's painter stuff. I've got all in on the Kickstarter. Glad it's going well. Well, that's nice, isn't it?
Thanks very much. I appreciate the support. Thank you.
God bless you, mate. God bless you. Okay, so if you've got any questions for Andrew, please get them in now. Okay, guys, and thank you very much for everybody who's joined the chat and given such great positive feedback to Andrew's work. And yeah, no, we're all happy for you, mate. That's going so well, and it's smashing the your target and that kind of thing. So with all this money you're making, Andrew, you're gonna go to the some tax haven island like Brian Ansell did.
No,
with all the profits, mate.
No, I don't think I'm quite Bahamas bound yet.
You can just buy more Oldhammer models, I suppose, with the or start producing the next lot, the next project.
Well,
so
hopefully
do you have
some of that money will go into exactly that? Yeah, hopefully.
So do you have any other kind of ideas of another project you'd want to release in the future?
Yeah, I've got. Well, like, because this was quite well received, making alternative Fimmer sculpts, I think there's a lot of scope to do that, more of that, because Games Workshop only ever made in the lifespan of Fimmer and Warhammer 10 sculpts. There was a prototype Fimmer designed by Jez Goodwin, and then there was a later range of 9 multi-part models. They all had separate tails, some had separate heads and tails that were made by Nick Bibby. And there was debate over whether or not Bibby had understood the brief, because he essentially made them troll-sized, whereas the original Jez Goodwin one is smaller, more like a large kind of human-sized. And throughout their life in Warhammer Fantasy, there were only ever 3 sort of army lists for them for Warhammer Fantasy Battle. There was one that they're listed as a race in the 3rd edition rulebook, and their basic troop, the basic warriors in a slave class should be mounted on 25mm bases, and their elite warriors and all heroes should be on 40mm bases. And then in subsequent, by the time Warhammer Armies was released shortly after the fantasy, so the 3rd edition rulebook, they were all meant to be on 40mm bases. And then there was a subsequent, really basically like a skeleton army list released in White Dwarf 102, I think it was, from June 88, where they were all on 40mm bases. But it wasn't a full army list. It was an article that was combined with a Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay scenario involving Fimmer. It's got some excellent Paul Bonner drawings in it. But there were only 2 troop types for the Fimmer. There were no rules on allies or mercenaries or monstrous hosts, chaotic hosts, or undead hosts for the rules. So it was kind of like there's always incomplete information. So I would like to make some more different types of Fimmer. I'd like to make some cavalry, either on sort of 2-legged lizards and a sort of heavier cavalry on things that look more like the old Monster of Loch Lorne, the dragon turtle, sculpt from the Macbeth scenario, 2nd edition. Some more characters. I'd like to make the Wood Elves, for instance, in 3rd edition used to be able to field falconers, like a missile troop, so like a single elf that had a falcon which he could cast in the shooting phase, almost like a bow. I'd like to do some Fimmer, but instead of a Fimmer equivalent, but instead of having eagles, having dragonettes, so small dragons that they could use as a missile attack. I made a pretty substantial conversion to an old wingless dragon to make a land dragon for the Fimmer. That was a few years ago, and I did quite a lot of scratch sculpting for that. And there was quite a lot of interest, and people asked if I could cast it, but because I'd used an existing model as the base, that wasn't possible. So I might make a version of that entirely from scratch in the future.
Didn't you win the Bring Out Your Lead painting competition with that one?
Yeah.
It was a best of show or something, wasn't it, mate?
The painting competition at Boyle's very, very casual, very laid back, and
there
isn't really a best of show.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
It was recognised. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. That's nice. Okay. So
Kenneth's asking about Fimmer Chariot. Yes, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like Ivan Bartlett's Chaos War Altar. He'll know that. And I'd like to make some Fimmer that are like dragon ogres. So draconic back half with a Fimmer sort of body. So not like an ogre, but a Fimmer dragon hybrid, pulling essentially a war altar or a piece of animated bog rather than a conventional chariot. There you go.
Right. Okay. And Ben's Minister says, who is Andrew's favourite miniature sculptor?
I like Bob Ollie, Kev Adams, Nick Bibby, Jez Goodall. They're my favourites.
Cool.
I wouldn't narrow it down from there.
Liam said he's got a few original Jez models, and you're right, he is small. It's a Famhairean one.
Yeah.
Original Famhairean. Yep. So Diva Fever, haven't seen him for a while. Does anyone want to buy a kidney? It's been an expensive week in terms of ordering on the Warhammer website for me. Well, there you go, mate. What have you been buying on the Warhammer website? All that Empire stuff, no doubt. So all the Empire models came out recently. Okay, so again, if you've got any questions for Andrew, please get them in now, guys, while Andrew's here. And what are you working on now, mate? Because I see you sort of tinkering on your hobby desk. What are you working on at the moment?
There's a few things here. I've got the old Nick Bibby elementals from the kind of 1984 sculpts. So there's an earth, air, fire, and water elemental that look quite a lot like the old Hero Quest card illustrations for the magic decks, I suppose, the types of magic that the wizard and the elf split. They're really nice models. Got a small number of Orkling Scouts from Foundry, which are essentially like snotlings riding lizards. So not a few of them that I picked up from the most recent Boyle. And I've got a Fimmer giant sculpt underway. Maybe I'll show that to the camera. It won't pick it up very well. What's that?
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. That's a big boy.
So I think it's about 85 mils tall. Writing's a bit poor, but he has this like a Warhammer that's sort of got a toad dragon sort of on top of it, and then he has this separate hand with an eye in the palm. That's like an old kind of sign of protection called a Hamza. So
nice, mate.
The whole concept of Fimmer having a single eye comes directly from Irish mythology. So the Fomor race were led by a giant called Balor, and he was meant to have a single eye with an evil gaze, so like a baleful gaze, and anything that he looked upon with his magical single eye would be destroyed. It would wither plants, animals, and people who would destroy them. And this is where the idea of Games Workshop took the idea of Fimmer having this one eye for their Fimmer race. It's a direct lift from that. So this is my sort of version of a Balor, like a Fomorian giant.
Awesome. Okay, wow. All right, that'd be really impressive when you finish that, mate. That's for sure. Now, talking about Bring Out Your Lead, because I don't think we had much coverage. Like, I didn't get to talk to people about it so much. I know that Johnny was there, and maybe you got to meet Johnny Watson when he came up this year.
I think he appeared at our table, yeah, because we were. I think he was only there on Friday, and Tarkin came with him, and I was staying with Tarkin in Europe.
Nice.
But we, so on the first day we were on the table in the sort of the covered room at Foundry that's not their shop, so sort of behind the marquee, and I was on a table, a 6x4 table next to Marcel, who was running his Hero Quest. So yeah. I met him briefly, but I think that was his first time at Boyle, and he was just kind of taking it all in.
Taking it all in, yeah. Nice, mate. That's good. Yeah, I'm glad he got to make it out, because he doesn't live all that far away, and I thought, you haven't been to bring out your lead? Like, this is the first time in, like, you know, how long it's been running. Yeah, so I'm glad he actually got up there.
I think people should go. I think it's a really nice day or weekend out. You know, it's free. You can go and not spend any money at all there, but you can go and spend a lot on miniatures from Foundry. They've got a huge amount of stuff. And there's a lot to see. It's really open, friendly. People are approachable, and there are some incredible old miniatures and sort of custom board designs and games that take place there. It's always like a really interesting. If you're into miniatures at all, and then not necessarily just Oldhammer stuff, then I think it's really worth a visit. And I would say even out with Boyle, the same is true of Foundry, because they've got. I mean, it's of more interest to people who are particularly interested in Oldhammer, because the stuff they have in their cabinets is incredible. Because when Brian Ansell left Citadel or Games Workshop, he took what were the studio armies with him, and the majority of that stuff is in cabinets, free to view all the time at Foundry, and you know, there's amazing stuff there.
Yep, that's for sure. Now, that's an interesting point, because I know that Johnny took some great video of those cabinets, which is really nice, and gave you a really good, eye view of what's there to see. But it's my understanding that back in the day, like during the early days of Games Workshop, they didn't necessarily paint armies like they did for like 4th and 5th edition, did they? They painted like a collection of miniatures for photography and that kind of thing.
I think as well, partly that's because the whole concept of Warhammer as being that kind of army-based game really wasn't fleshed out until 4th edition, I would say.
Yeah.
A lot of the battles, scenarios, and stuff were really skirmishes prior to that. Like for instance, there were great old photos of incredible battle scenes, and Jeff from Oakbound put on a beautiful table this year at Boyle, where he recreated the battle scene shots from the beginning of the 3rd edition rulebook, and he pulled in lots of people to provide like all of the appropriate miniatures, of which there are hundreds on a big, I think it was probably an 8x4, it might even be bigger, it might have been a 12x4 table, but it was a big table, and he like really painstakingly researched where the bridge in the middle of the table was from. It's an old sort of 70s, I think, probably production kit, and managed to find the right one, and really faithful recreation of the board, and like a real spectacle. And he's documented all that in his blog. Jeff Solomon Sims from Oakbound Studio, and his blog is called Fimmer, who is an Irish hero who was involved in an Irish mythological figure. So Jeff also has a big love of Fimmer, and started his company making his own alternative Fimmer sculpts, some of which are still in production, and he calls them Mayeri. And they're a faction in his own game system, which he calls the Woods. So yeah, really worth checking out as well. Excellent very affordable hand sculpted metal models. Very good.
Yeah, actually, I really like Jeff's very early videos on YouTube because because of the grainy picture, it looked like you're watching a film that was filmed in the 1990s or early 2000s. I really like that kind of aesthetic to the film quality.
Yeah.
Because it really, if you look at his really early videos, it does give you that sort of filter or something on his camera that made it look like it was filmed 25 years ago. So I kind of like that. But no, he does some good work, and I know Johnny. Yeah,
he's a great guy.
Yep. So he's a good guy, and I know he brought out his dungeon crawler game that I know that Johnny picked up at Salute, I think. Last year. So yeah, that's good. He's going from strength to strength, and he's doing what he loves to do, which is good to see. Yeah, mate, that's great.
I think he's been running Oakbound for 10 years this year. So good stint.
Yeah, mate, that's it. That's good. That's wonderful to see. Yeah, okay, mate. Well, I'm glad that everything's going well with the Kickstarter, and I have left a link here in the video description. So if you want to go directly to that Kickstarter page, please do so by looking at the video description, and we'll head you straight over there. If you want to contact Andrew, you can go through our Discord, and on Discord, you are known as Ketil Trout. Is that right? Okay. So if you want to contact Ketil Trout on our Discord and talk to Andrew directly, have him ask questions about anything or whatever, or just say, great job, keep it up or whatever, please do so. Okay, mate. Well, I think we might have to wrap up our show today because I've got a young boy I need to wake up and get him ready for school. But Andrew, it's been a pleasure, mate. It's been, like I said, it's been a while since we last had a chat. So, and it's been good to do that. And again, it's been just good to see that the Kickstarter's been a success, and people will have your own design miniatures in their hands come March next year, mate.
Yeah, I hope so. All being well. Thanks very much for the opportunity. It's much appreciated.
No problem, mate. That's good. Good to see you. And I'll probably catch you up on Discord at some point, have a chat.
Yeah.
Okay, talk football. All right, guys. Thanks for everybody who's joined in the chat. Have a great evening. If you're in Scotland, enjoy your day off tomorrow. And we'll catch you hopefully next weekend. I'll have to get Johnny. He's been slack. He's got family business or something, which is not good enough. Not a good enough excuse. He's not taking this job very seriously. But it's good to see that you can make it today, Andrew, with us. We'll catch you again next time.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Okay. See you guys.